Nordhagen Beach is one of the most beautiful settlement locations in all of Fallout 4. We are likely to stumble upon it when heading to Fort Strong to help the Brotherhood of Steel. It's on the same little strip of land as Fort Strong, and it's the closest settlement besides the Boston airport to the Brotherhood of Steel. In order to use the settlement, we need to convince the settlers to join the Minutemen by doing them a favor.
You've got to help. They've kidnapped my wife.
Who kidnapped her?
They said they'd be back for the ransom in a few days. If I don't pay up, they'll kill her. But I don't have that kind of money.
Don't worry. I'll get her back.
Thank you. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Just bring her back safe, okay?
Easy City Downs is just down the road, and after retrieving this man's wife...
No, please, you've got to help me.
Don't worry. I'm here to rescue you.
Oh my god, thank you. Let's go.
He promises to join the Minutemen.
I don't know how to thank you for that rescue you pulled off.
Are you willing to support the Minutemen now?
Sure thing. I'm glad someone's trying to do some good around here for once. You can count on our help if you need it.
When we get Nordhagen Beach, there's not much here. There are lawn flamingos and trash all over the beach. There's a tiny little gourd farm, fenced off with a brown fence. There's a tiny shack in the middle of the settlement, and then just piles and piles of refuse. Just outside the settlement, there's a crashed Stingray Deluxe, flipped over on its back. I tried to use place everywhere and console commands to rescue this thing. For a while I thought that I might turn this into a centerpiece for my settlement, maybe selling tickets so Wastelanders could see it. But I couldn't find a way to unearth this thing, so here it remains where we find it. But this settlement is pretty unique for a couple of reasons. One being that it's one of a handful of settlements that the Brotherhood of Steel will send you to extort food for the Brotherhood.
What's the mission again?
Informing the Commonwealth Farms of their upcoming support for the Brotherhood of Steel.
I'm in.
Knew I could count on you. You'll find the farm on your map. And don't forget, you get their cooperation by any means necessary.
And if we choose to destroy the Brotherhood in the Minuteman ending, it's the best settlement for placing one of our artillery cannons. We are in a direct line of sight of the Prydwen. Because of this, if we destroy the Prydwen in our gameplay, Nordhagen Beach will likely get raided by the Brotherhood, meaning that the settlers at this location have seen a lot of action. They were pivotal to the Minutemen's success and are likely to attract a lot of attention because of it. This was what I had in mind when I created my Nordhagen Beach. I used the entire build area for this settlement to build my Nordhagen Beach. But a rich man will tell you that the most valuable commodity is space. The thing that makes Nordhagen Beach precious is the beach. And I didn't want to consume all of the beach with a bunch of tiny little shacks or lean-tos, turning it into a bit of a hobo camp. I didn't want to cover every square inch with cement or farms, and so I built around the perimeter of the settlement, leaving most of the interior wonderful and sandy. My Nordhagen Beach has a boardwalk and a Nuka arcade, with a bunch of working machines from Nuka World. It has all of the large shops, as well as 2 bars, a barber, an optometrist, 4 dogs, 3 cats, 3 Brahmin, and a sheltered bed for every settler. This settlement is built to hold 24 settlers. 24 is the magic number. That's the most settlers we can squeeze into a settlement before we start to get too many happiness penalties, requiring us to build a bunch of silly things like 18 bars just to improve settlement happiness. It's entirely self-sufficient, producing all of the food and water that it needs, and it maximizes water, food, caps, and fertilizer production every single day. I have exported my settlement as a blueprint, so if you want it in your own game, you can download it using the link in the description. I took great pains to not place any mod-added settlement objects in this settlement, which means you don't need any of those mods to get it to work in your game. All it requires are the Fallout 4 official DLCs. And now for the tour. When we head down the bridge towards Nordhagen Beach, oh hey there buddy, not sure where he's going, we've got a sign out here. Welcome to Nordhagen Beach, the settlement that destroyed the Brotherhood of Steel. I'm imagining that these guys are a little bit...
Garvey. Glad to meet you. We need more people like you these
I
days.
see. He was trying to find Preston.
Thanks.
All right, that's very nice. I'm trying to shoot a video.
That you appreciate.
Stop interrupting
Here,
me.
take
Stop
this.
it.
I'm sure you'll put it to good use.
Anyway.
It helps. We'll be sure to put this to good use.
Thank you. All right, well, now that little love fest is over and done with, what I was saying is that these guys are really proud of what they did to defeat the Brotherhood of Steel, almost to a fault. They pretend that some of the other settlements that took part in that battle didn't really do as much as they did, so they're pretty proud of what they've done. So they've got this big sign out here boasting about it. I had to use place everywhere to push this sign all the way out here because it is outside the bounds of the settlement, but it's the perfect place for it. And then we see the walled off settlement. Now, walls, of course, mean nothing in terms of gameplay because many of the attack markers are inside the bounds of the settlement, and that's the case with this settlement as well. All of the attack spawn points for enemies are within the bounds of the settlement, but walls look nice, and so I added walls. Let me talk a little bit before I talk about the buildings about these out here. This is the Bunker Hill Trading Post, and I don't know if it's a glitch in my game or what, but whenever I place one of these, all of the traders decide to come at once. We've got Lucas Sims right here, Trash Can Carla. They're all here. I've got 3 different guys out here, and so I thought I would put 3 of these trading posts out here to kind of spread them out a little bit, but that didn't seem to work. I did push them outside the bounds of the settlement. This road is not inside the bounds of the settlement because I didn't want them taking up too much space inside, and I thought that looked pretty nice. But yeah, their Brahmin do just clog up this artery, which is a little bit of a frustration. Anyway, let me tell you the scope of this. So these guys, the settlers here, love their involvement with the Minutemen and are proud of destroying the Brotherhood of Steel, but they're also protective of their privacy. They understand that they have a wonderful piece of real estate. They love their beach, and they kind of want to keep it there, for themselves, so they don't want to share with a whole lot of people. So, but that said, they still need to make money. They still got to make ends meet. So what they did is they built a series of shops and a boardwalk to give a part of their wonderful beachfront settlement to people who come to shop at their shops, but then they walled off the rest of it for their own use. So let me give you the tour as just a regular wastelander. Let's say you're a wastelander from downtown Boston. You heard about this wonderful settlement at Nordhagen Beach, and you got to check out the shops. So this is what would happen. You would come down here, and you'd see a shop over here. Oh, look. Weapons, armor, and clothing. Well, that's nice. Let's head on into this shop. It's a gun shop, and inside, we've got an armor and clothing vendor. That's great. That's fantastic. Looking good. And then back here, oh, look at all of this wonderful clothing and armor. I used OC Decorator to place all of these pieces. The funny thing is that I didn't have to work really hard to get all of this armor and clothing. So what I do is after every single successful defense of a settlement that gets attacked, I strip all of the raiders and all of the gunners of all of the gear that they're carrying, and I store it in that settlement's workshop, which in this case is right there. I do that for every single settlement when it gets attacked. So over the years, and golly, it has been years now, it's what, 2018? Yeah, over the years, I've collected a ton of gear at every single settlement. So all I did is I took all of that gear out, I used the OC dispenser to turn it into a static item, and then I just decorated up the shelf. So here's all of the armor on this shelf. As you can see, I got a lot of heavy leather pauldrons for some reason, a lot of shoulders dropped. And then over here we've got the clothing, some glasses, berets, a couple of harnesses, typical raider stuff. And then, yeah, I've got an armor merchant, and she's dressed up in a nice full suit of metal armor, and then a clothing merchant, and I decided to put her in some covert sweater with slacks. And the last hat I had was a Ushanka hat that I put out there. Decorations on the wall. This is a Nuka World themed settlement because they wanted to, well, I mean, Nuka World is far away from this location, and it's really dangerous, and they wanted to make some money and bring the best parts of Nuka World to Boston. So it's kind of like a theme park attraction, this settlement. And so they're embracing Nuka World. But then I built an upstairs attic, and this is the beauty of this particular shop. This is my weapons shop. Not sure where my vendor is. Huh, he was here a moment ago. Oh, that's a bummer. I wanted him to be here. Maybe we'll come back and see if we can find him. But I decorated this up, and I really enjoy how it turned out. So I've got my weapons shop countertop here, and I decorated it with a bunch of Molotov cocktails and grenades. More stuff that comes from enemies that I just found in my workshop. And then all of these weapons are weapons that raiders and gunners and super mutants have been using to attack me. I think this Gatling laser is left over from when the Brotherhood invaded this settlement in retribution for destroying the Pridwin. I think I looted that and then put it in the workbench. But yeah, lots of pipe weapons, lots of lasers, lots of pistols, a couple of missile launchers from super mutants. All this stuff just dropped off of enemies, and I saved it all so that I could decorate it up. So here's the weapon shop. I figured they could come up here and buy what they need. This is a selection of weapons they can choose from, and these are all a bunch of mods. But then I thought, well, okay, so they just buy this new weapon, they probably want to tweak it, you know? So I figured this would be a nice little attic workshop for people who want to patronize the settlement. You come walking all the way across Boston to get some new gear, you get your gear, but then you can't use it till you get back home. Well, that's no good, so you can go ahead and alter your weapons here, modify them, and maybe this would turn into a little bit of a shop where fellows could come to talk with other like-minded individuals, other scavengers who are putting together weapons and armor, and just have a really nice time. I powered it up with these conduits from Contraptions Workshop, and I realized after I built it that I didn't need this top layer, and I'll show you why. So I've got a pass-through wall conduit there where it's wired, and then I used the radiators. These are electricity radiators on this bottom floor roof. And the radius of each of those is so wide that it reaches upstairs. So I didn't need to build that, but I forgot about it, and I built it anyway. So plenty of light here. I'll turn off my flashlight. Plenty of light. This is what it looks like fully lit. And down here as well. Plenty of light. These strip lights from Wasteland Workshop are amazing. You just put them back to back down the middle of your little shack, and look at that. The light just reaches the wall. So fully illuminated. And yeah, these light up. These illuminate as well. They just needed to be near a passive electricity source. So then if you go out the back door, you start the boardwalk. But before we go there, I want to take you to the next shop just so I can show you how this works. So heading on over to the next shop, we can navigate by all of these guys. Here, let's hop in here. All right. Pharmacy, optometry, general goods, surgery, and barber. A whole lot going on in here. We've got a drug sign outside, and then it says sale and salon. Heading inside, sure enough, we've got our clinic. She's in a lab coat, wearing some glasses. Did you take your medication today? And then we've got a general goods merchant. I put some magnets from Nuka World on there. This looked like a metal banister or a metal edge, so I figured that the magnets would work. I never really had a use for any of the magnets from Nuka World, so I figured I'd put them there. She's dressed up in a nice dress, a casual outfit, and she's dressed up in her lab coat. They're ready to sell goods and services. And then over here is some of their stock. This is some of the general goods stock, and it's just random scrap from the wasteland. We've got gnomes and toys, a collection of these stuffed animals from Nuka World cutlery and plates and mugs and personal effects. I imagine the Wastelander comes on in here. Oh, look, there's a mother icon. Wastelanders may not know what that is, but looks nice. A little bit of storage. I've got some barrels and crates for storage under here, and then more art on the walls, and then upstairs are the services. So, surgeon, barber, eyes. I was lazy. I didn't want to spell out optometrist, so I just put eyes. Anyway, up here is the waiting area, so Wastelanders can come here to get everything fixed. I've got seats out here, reading material. Now here's the surgeon, and I used the Vault-Tec Workshop facial reconstruction surgery guy, and I assigned this lovely, handsome guy. I know it's creepy, but that's exactly what I wanted. I gave him the face mask for sanitary reasons and put him in a nice, dirty lab coat. And then this is surgery, so I've got a sign out here that says, warning, excavation in progress. You know, you never know what he's going to be cutting away. And then, oh, we've got some of his tools of the trade, a couple of saws, and then what's that? I just thought that was great. Although, I'm not sure how it got moved. Let's, here we go. Not sure how that happened. It was leaning against there perfectly. So yeah, that's the huge lumber saw from Far Harbor. But hey, you never know. You know, some people have stubborn cuticles. So, and then over here we've got the Barber, and I wanted a Barber pole so bad, but I didn't want to use mods, so I did the next best thing. I've got my Vault-Tec workshop lights, and I just alternated red-white, red-white. And it works. This guy's not in a lab coat, he's in a dapper suit and a derby. I figure that's what barbers look like, right? And otherwise, you know, he's got some light in here. Also, I did a different thing with the light here. Let me turn my torch off. He's got one spotlight illuminating him, but then because this is a barber and you get to know your barber, you chat with your barber, it's sort of a social time. I've got a nice warm light. But it's very different in here. This is a surgeon, and this is, you know, a little bit scary. So we've got these clinical neon lights, which is not the best. Now you will notice a wire passing through here, and that's really frustrating and completely unavoidable. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a bit. But no, that's not a wire that's not a wire I built. That came with the settlement, and I can't get rid of it. But you know what? I'm just going to have to ignore it. There may be a mod out there that allows you to tweak Nordhagen Beach to get rid of things like this that came with the settlement, but yeah, I couldn't do it. So anyway, down here we've got eyes, and this is also a little bit clinical. So we've got some sanitary neon lights up there, and then the eye doctor is doing his thing. We've got the seat right here. He's standing ready. Now he is wearing glasses himself, so one may wonder whether or not he really is the best eye doctor. This is the best I could find for an eye chart. It has a combination of both large and small letters. Couldn't find an E eye chart, but I guess we could use that as an eye chart. And then I've got everything an eye surgeon may need. You know, a magnifying glass to check out a splinter in your eye, tweezers to pluck out those cataracts, and a laser in case you ever need some laser correction surgery. Just hope he doesn't dump any hot cigarette ash in your eye while he's working on you. That would be a bummer. So there you go. Another little waiting area out here. I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. Okay, so those are the primary shops, but as we head out this back door, we see an arrow pointing us down the boardwalk. Oh, this looks great. You should see this illuminated at night. We've got lamps all the way down the boardwalk, and these lights look great. And also, check out the insides here. Well, all of the merchants are going home because I just turned it back to night. The neon signs look wonderful on the outside. Let me show you what they look like over here. They're glowing nice and pretty. You can see everything from a distance, and there's plenty of light inside. Now you'll notice that all of the shopkeepers are heading out the front door to go back home. Even though their home is all the way there, they have to go around, and that's because I made sure to block off this boardwalk area from the interior of the settlement, so that the settlers still have their nice big mansion over there in their farm and their own little beachside settlement, but they can still come in here to work during the day. So, back where we're at the boardwalk, we go down here. Oh, what's this? We see liquors off to the right. I saw this spot, this little gap between the buildings. It wasn't quite large enough for another building. Well, I suppose it could have been, but I couldn't build a building there because of that monstrosity. And that is why we have those telephone wires passing through the settlement. You can't scrap that tilted telephone pole. It's infuriating. Even when I used place everywhere, I couldn't toggle extra object selection to get rid of it. Actually, I probably should have changed the hour to, let's try 11. There, now it's 11 at night. They should come in here to drink. This does work. The settlers will come here after work and step on downstairs. I imagine this as sort of a late night pub for adults. They can come down here. They've got their liquor. They've got their bartender over here. I've got this decorated up with everything a bartender needs. All sorts of bottles of booze and cups and glasses. An ice machine back here to give you a nice ice cold one. A cooler and lots of good stuff set out here. I alternated the outdoor tables with umbrellas. I wanted to make sure that each of these tables had an umbrella because this is outdoors, so it is open to the elements. But we've got green, orange, green, orange. The orange came with Nuka World. I put some booze out here on display and then decorated each one up with one of these string of bulbs, and this worked really well. It just glows, a beautiful, warm, glowy color, which I love. All right, now let's turn it back to day. All right, it's a little overcast this day, but it's working. Now, to continue, we head down here, and I've got a sign out here that says Pub by the Bent Pole. I guess I'm calling to the attention to the fact that there's this giant bent pole that you can't scrap or do anything with. This is here for the people who enter the boardwalk from this direction. If they come from this direction and they see the boardwalk, they may not know a pub is this way, and so I've got a big sign that says Pub by the Bent Pole, and then we can go this way. It shows them that it's there. Then I used the Nuka World signs to give directions. The nice thing about these is that they do snap, so I put 2 of these poles on top of each other because I wanted it to be able to be high enough so the settlers could walk up and down. I didn't want the signs blocking their way. So we've got an exit and first aid and gift shop to the right, clinic and the way out, and then to the left we've got restrooms, refreshments, and games. So let's head on down to the rest of the boardwalk. Over here we can get ourselves a ticket. Requires pre-war money. Ow! Well, let's get some pre-war money. Trying it again. All right, we've got our tokens. Oh, more. How many? How many of these are they going to give me? All right, well, I think I've got enough now. I'll just leave the... Oh, is that it? Okay, that's it. All right, so we've got our tokens, and then out here, this is the beautiful boardwalk. The sun isn't in the right place. Let's change the time of day. There, that's going to give us some better lighting for this. So over here, we have the public restrooms for patrons of the boardwalk. And inside, I've got, I've got the seats so that they can sit down. This one's a little broken, not a lot of privacy, so sorry for the guy that gets stuck in there. And then we have these wonderful glowing lamps from Far Harbor. In my last video, someone said that they thought that this was waste matter, but it may be, but I always thought it was glowing toxic nuclear waste matter, not the sort of human waste matter that I was told was there. But anyway, those are illuminated with those barrels, and then out here we've got a bit of a fishing area. The boardwalk, or the deck, goes all the way out to the edge of the water. It's not in the water, so I don't know if that's enough room for these guys to catch anything. But, I figure they've got their fishing poles here, and they can cast it out into this little strip of water. And, hey, it's working. Look at that. Look at their catches. They've got all sorts of mutated fish. And, that. We've got some lanterns so they can do some late-night fly fishing if they want. A life vest in case anyone falls inside. And lots of nets and goodies. And then over here, a big basket of fish, a lobster trap, and a big barrel fire to keep warm. So fishing, I imagine, is going to be a wonderful attraction. Oh, there's my provisioner. There she is, on her way back. I have 2 provisioners to this settlement, 1 human and 1 robot. All right, so here's the Nuka Zapper. And to play it, we put in a token. Oh. And we got some tickets. All right. 189, not bad. Then moving over here. And then there's this hoop shot. Oh! Too much. Nope. Oh. Nope. Again, too much. I'm so... Here, let's just tap it. Nope. Nope, not quite enough. How about... Oh, almost! I'm learning. Come on, ball. Oh. Frustrating. You know, it's... you'd think since this is a video game, if I can't do it in real life, I should be able to do it in... I didn't get a single one! Ugh. Oh, well. At least I got some tickets. And then there's this. I'm traditionally good at this one. Let's, hold on a second. The sun was starting to go down. Let's get some more light in here. Let's try this. Ah! Too hard. Ooh, all right. Okay. Oh, fail. Oh, hey, not bad. Oh, uh-oh. I think there's a ball stuck up there somewhere. Ooh, not bad. Okay, I'm good at this. I can't do the basketball, but I can do this one. Ah. I want that back one. Yes! Oh, look at that! I'm a pro at atomic... Well, I say I'm a pro. Is that it? Let's cheat. Can we cheat? Looks like I'm out of balls. Cool. Get my tickets. So there you go. That I can imagine being an attraction for wastelanders and scavengers all over the wasteland. Come down here, do a little bit of fishing, play some of the games. Anyway, then over here is refreshments. And this is the second bar. I've got this guy manning the stall. And this is less of an alcohol bar. So the other bar is the alcohol bar. This one is for children as well. So we've got lots of Nuka-Cola. This is the Nuka-Cola bar. Vim, bottled water, every kind of Nuka-Cola. And then over here, I've got a bit of a Nuka-Cola foods vendor stand. You don't have hot dogs, but I put a bunch of shish kebabs. You know, I've got iguana on a stick, crispy squirrel bits on a stick. I'm sure that'll be appetizing to some. All right, let's put it back to morning so that we've got a better view of the rest of the settlement. And that's it for the boardwalk. So, as you can see, there's no stairway down, and it's kind of blocked off with this giant wall. You know, the people who live here don't want a bunch of strangers, you know, peering through their windows or examining, you know, their farm or anything like that. So it's blocked off. Nice view. These guys get games and everything, but if you want to go to the settlement, you have to go all the way back and out. Back to the road, passing all of these guys hanging out in the middle of the road. And then through here, this is the main gate, and it is fortified. I used the scaffolding from Contraptions Workshop to build this platform upon which I sat a bunch of the turrets to defend the settlement. It has a nice big open gate, and you can see all the settlers going in and out to get to their work every day. And yeah, this is the interior of the settlement. Lots of stuff going on. So let me show you this first. To access this guard tower, we just go up this ramp. And again, can't do anything about these doggone wires. Can't scrap them, can't get rid of them. So we're just stuck with them. I've got two of these guard towers from Vault-Tec Workshop. These take up the least amount of space possible, and it's perfect. They use this little watchtower to view the road, and they're right next to all of these wonderful turrets. So there's that. And this, incidentally, is a spawn point. One of the attack spawn points for the settlement is right here, underneath the guard tower. So, here's the farm. So, this was originally a gourd farm, and I didn't want to change it. I normally do carrots at my settlements, but I never do gourds, and you know what I figured? I want to do something new. Maybe there's something about the sandy soil that makes gourds the perfect crop for farming. So all I did is I added enough gourds to support a 24-person settlement, and then I just lined them up in a row to make all of these wonderful lines. You can see everything's growing really well. These gourds are coming into fruit, I guess. There was a wooden fence that came with the settlement. Sadly, I scrapped it. I wish I hadn't, because I can't build a wooden fence. I can build a white picket fence and this chicken wire fence, but not the brown wooden fence that came with the settlement. So I was sad that I scrapped that, but I built a new fence all the way around it, and I put a door at every side just to give the settlers the most places to come in and out so that they don't get stuck. This barrel and lantern came with the settlement. I liked it. I just left it there. And then I put this water here for washing hands or watering specific crops. You only need 3 Brahmin. 3 Brahmin are going to produce the maximum amount of fertilizer for your settlement every single day. And so I just put these troughs out here by the grass. And I figured this can be their pasture. All of this wonderful grass for them to just walk around and graze. And they're not going to get lost. Each of them has their own trough where they will sit and stay for the entire game. So I don't got Brahmin wandering all over. Now let's talk about this. I'm going to toggle clipping. So over here, I have my primary generator. This generates 100 power, which is everything this settlement needs. I've got a terminal attached to it so I can use my settlement management software, and then 1 scrap station illuminated with a lantern. And I wanted this to power the entire settlement, but I didn't want too many wires going this way and that and getting in people's way. So I built this sort of rigging thing. I built these 2 iron pillars using the warehouse set that I believe came with Contraptions Workshop, and then I just wired up these conduits along the inside. And then at the very top I put this little pylon. That way I can power everything. I've got power coming down here, and none of the wires are getting in the way. I've got power going to the lights and the shops over there, and and then power going to this thing and the house over there. So that's how I chose to do my power. And I liked how it turned out. I thought it turned out pretty great. Now, over here, I have my artillery cannon. This is the unique feature of this settlement. This is the same artillery cannon that was used to defeat the Brotherhood of Steel. And as you can see, we've got a great view down there of the Boston airport and the ruins of the Prydwen. This was on fire for quite some time after destroying it. Anyway, so these guys are pretty proud of that, and they've got their man staying at this post, making sure everything is safe. Then, because the spawn points, also, I decided to put it here because there's this big pile of trash in the middle of the settlement that you can't scrap, unless you use a mod like scrap everything, which I didn't want to use. I didn't want to install that mod, so instead, I just built this on top of it, and that covers a lot of the garbage that was piled up here in the middle. Near to that, I put this big guard tower and turret tower, and the reason for that is because the spawn points are inside the bounds of the settlement, and I didn't, it's not going to be good to have too many guard towers and turrets around the perimeter. That's going to be helpful in a small way. It's going to be better to have one central location so you can get a 360-degree angle. So this is what I built. I used all of these pillars that came with the warehouse tile set, and then on the inside I put a couple of platforms. And then I wrapped a staircase all the way around it. So the platforms on the inside have the turrets on them, and all the turrets are wired up to 1 pylon on the underside. And then this pylon is connected to that, giving it the electricity that it needs. They're not daisy-chained together because if one link in the daisy chain goes out, let's say a super mutant grabs a missile launcher and knocks one out, then all the turrets go down. So if each one is individually powered, that means more of your turrets are going to have a better chance to survive. And then at the very top, same thing I did last time. I've got these Vault-Tec Workshop guard towers facing opposite directions and this nice open window. Look at this view. Best view in all of the town. We've got a view of the Boston airport over there. There's the mansion, the house. There's the farm. You can see everything from up here. There's the entrance. The entire settlement is walled off. These guys know exactly what's going on. And this guy can even see the bridge. Knows when a raid is about to happen before it happens. I love it. Sorry, Preston. Out of the way. And then moving down. Yep, you can see this is the boardwalk, and it's completely blocked off. People are not going to be seeing each other. These guys are still going to feel like they've got their own private little home. And then down here, I wanted like a beachside fire pit. And so I thought this was going to be a great little view. The shadow's in the way. Let's see if I can fix that. There we go. As the sun sets off into the west, these settlers can sit down at a campfire and roast their, is that dog? I think that's dog. Yeah. They can roast their dog, have their dog on a kebab, and sit down here and make their soups right by the water with a great view of the Boston airport and downtown. Wonderful view. Love it. Then there's the mansion. So this is what I built. I didn't want to build a whole bunch of shacks and lean-tos because I didn't want it to look like a hobo town. So instead I built one huge shack that took up a small amount of space over here instead of a lot of little shacks that took up the majority of the space. By the way, if you scrap that log in the middle of the settlement, these barnacles will float here forever, and it's really frustrating. So I didn't realize that until I had already scrapped it. So heads up, you may not want to scrap the log in the middle of the settlement, otherwise you've got permanent barnacles. Anyway, so what I did is I wanted to make sure that all of these pillars touched the ground. And so I built this elevated platform with pillars that go all the way down. I couldn't use the floor, the elevated stilt floor, because those have a set length, and it would have looked like they were floating. So instead I had to build these concrete foundations at the front and then snap the floors to it, and then snap these pillars to the floors that go all the way down. Each floor has a patio. Let me zoom on up here so that you can see. This is the sunset-facing side of the house. Each floor has a patio, and it's not really big, but it's enough for them to sit outside and smoke a cigarette or drink a cup of coffee while watching the sunset. And the same is true on the reverse side. So heading to the front, we have a sunrise and a sunset viewing patio. So west over there, east over here. They can watch the sunrise from this location. All right, let's go ahead and see that. There's the sunrise on the horizon. Let's bump it up. Yep. Oh, there it is. That's east. Okay. So they can get some of the sunrise from the east. So they see the sun there. There you go. So at least they get illuminated from there and they can see it. Well, these guys over here can see the sunrise really well. I suppose these guys, they get a great view of the town. Let's push that back up there. All right. Then let's do a tour of the inside. This larger patio just has a place for settlers to sit down and enjoy themselves and smoke the cigars. I've got some cat bowls out here because there are 3 cats. There are 3 cat bowls, one for each cat, sort of littering the settlement. A Minuteman flagpole, proud on display outside. And then we've got a dog house for each and every dog. I built a little bit of a floor down here so that they're all on a level spot. And then they each have their own little dog bowl. Heading into the house, this is the main floor. So let's see where to begin. Okay, so let's talk about the rooms first. So there's a staircase here in the middle, and this leads up to floor number 2. Now, all of these are bedrooms, and each bedroom has 3 beds. In this way, I was able to get 24 beds for my 24 settlers. Each bedroom has a door that leads out to the patio. The patios do connect to each other. So it's one way to visit with your neighbors, and then you can head down to the opposite side of the hallway to the next bedroom, which connects to the next patio. All of them have beds. I haven't put a bunch of furniture in these yet. They've got their beds, they've got their rugs, but I haven't decorated each one up. But it's enough for it to function. And that's the 3rd floor. So, looking great. They've all got a wonderful place to enjoy the view. And then when we head downstairs, this is where they do a lot of their living. So moving on into here, this is a kitchen / dining area. So I've got these plastic mats on the ground in front of all of the kitchen areas. This is their primary stove. I put this teapot on top of it. But they will come in here and fiddle with this since it is a crafting station. I decorated this table out with some oil and shortening and everything you would need to use with an oven. There's a sink from Vault-Tec Workshop, and then all sorts of kitchen doodads set out there. Decorated this up. This is their small pantry. Lots of boxed goods, mac and cheese, cram, looking good. Window out there. I fixed my glass problem, by the way. If you remember my video on Kingsport Lighthouse, the glass wasn't working. Well, it's back. Don't know what I did, though, so I can't tell you how I fixed it. But it's fixed. And then I've got some Nuka-Cola mixing stations. I figure this is going to be important because the settlers need to keep their bar over there on the boardwalk stocked with Nuka-Cola. and the sole survivor, of course, found the Nuka-Cola recipes. This gives the Minuteman network of settlements a unique opportunity to mix up Nuka-Cola flavors that have never been tasted before. So they'll come in here and mix up their Nuka-Cola and then sell it over there on the Boardwalk. An ice machine over here. This is one of the ice mixing stations from Vault-Tec Workshop, and what it does will change depending on the choices you made in your Vault-Tec Workshop quests. Mine gives the most amount of happiness to my settlement of almost anything. So this gives the settlement a great amount of happiness. Over here, I decorated up with all sorts of foodstuffs. I don't know what this is. I'm thinking this might be, well, it's a dispenser of some sort. Is it, like a soup dispenser? I don't know. This, I think, is a coffee dispenser. Then I gave them my favorite set piece in the entire game, the Sicilian espresso machine. It's beautiful. Then I put these trays out here, and the way I figure it is that this community is really proud of their settlement. They're proud of being a community, and everyone has a job. And so some people start making meals for everybody to do their work. And then for breakfast, you can come on down here and then serve yourself up a bunch of food. Look at this big pile of tasty bacon. And super delicious, crispy squirrel bits, and somebody's going to enjoy, baked bloatfly, I guess. So I put that in there for the sake of diversity. And then I set out a small eating area. Each of these tables is decorated with food and drink and utensils, a seat for a bunch of settlers. And, this is... I love how this turned out, because this attracts people. The bars will attract settlers at the end of the day, and this drink-mixing soda fountain will also attract settlers at the end of the day. And I wanted seats for all of the settlers to sit at near to where they were attracted. So lots of seating out here next to the drink mixer, and then lots of seating at both of the bars, which also attract people. So that's why I made that decision. And then some of these wonderful posters on the walls. Then, I had to have a bathroom, and I didn't want a bathroom in each of the rooms upstairs, so what I did is I made a men's and women's restroom. I also didn't want it to use too much real estate, so I had to use Place Everywhere to do some tricky conjoining of different set pieces to make this smaller bathroom. So here's the women's, and the doors all work. I had to stack two pillars next to each other to make this dividing pillar where I could attach the door. And then I used the scrap wall, the tiny half scrap wall from the vanilla tile set, to separate the stalls. But the stalls are separate. 2 toilets in the women's bathroom with their own sink, and then a wall that separates it from the men's restroom, where they've got 2 toilets, each with their own stall and their own sink. But the little bathrooms don't take up the entire width. Otherwise, it would have gone to here, and I just felt that would have been way too much space, so I made it a little bit smaller. Then I wanted there to be some relaxation nooks, maybe a den or a parlor or a place where some of the settlers could go to relax at the end of a long day. And so I built this little station over here. There's a holotape player. This came from Vault-Tec Workshop. In the back here, I decorated it up using OC Decorator to put some holotapes on there. And then a nice easy chair with an ottoman. There's a nasty ripped couch, but hey, it's the wasteland. And then we've got some old campy movie posters on the wall. I figured that'd be great for a little bit of a den. And then a window looking out towards Fort Strong that way. A big ashtray here where you can smoke your cigar. Looks like someone's playing a game of checkers, or is about to be. And then I've got this little nook decorated with porcelain. And maybe that's Grandma's ashes, I don't know. Moving on in here, here's the second parlor. And, I don't know if parlor's the right word, but it's the second den. And this is where they've got the wet bar. So here's the wet bar that came with Vault-Tec Workshop. Got a variety of bottles of booze out there. And then I decided to make a little wine rack over here. It was tricky getting these bottles tipped. Basically, what I ended up doing is I ended up just dropping them from my inventory, arranging them while holding E, and then using Place Everywhere to press End to turn it into a static item. Then I just slid them on in there. It was a bit tricky, but I got it to work. A jukebox, it's going to be powered on up, and then some reading material over here, some magazines, books, more of those unique Nuka-Cola recipes, and seating with art on the walls. Then, of course, there's a back patio out here. My only regret of how this turned out is I've got this big, ugly water purification thing directly in line of sight of this back patio, which of course ruins the view. I mean, I say that, but what exactly are we ruining? We're ruining the view of a huge Brotherhood of Steel blimp wreck. So, yeah, maybe it's not ruining the view, but I didn't want to put it over there because the way I figure it, the settlers understand that wastelanders are coming here and paying to enjoy this view and enjoy the boardwalk and enjoy all of the shops that are out there. And it would probably diminish their return if they had that really ugly purifier over there where their guests are supposed to be. So I put it there for now. I may want to change it later, but that's where it is. So there you go. That is my Nordhagen beach. Take a look at the vital stats. 24 people, 24 food, 43 water, 100 power, 203 defense, 24 beds. It says 88 happiness, but I know that this is going to increase over time. I'm not sure why it's not at to 100 just yet. I don't think I've waited long enough. I think what's going on is I made all of these changes so soon that the settlement hasn't had enough time to calculate everything. So I just don't think I've had enough time to get up to 100 happiness, but based on my calculations, it will reach 100 happiness. So there you go, my Nordhagen beach revisited. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want this settlement for your own game, I have uploaded my blueprint, and I provided a link in the description below. You can download it. You don't need any mods or Creation Club creations to get this to work. If you do get a message saying that you need any of that, ignore it, because it's probably just some clothing decoration I put out on display on one of the racks. That'll just disappear from your game. Almost everything else is from the vanilla game and all of the DLCs, so you should be able to get it to work in your own game. Thank you all for watching. This is, it's always fun to put out a settlement build. What's this guy? How did this guy lose his clothes? What are you doing out here, buddy? Is he even part of that settlement? I don't know. I'll have to figure out where he went at another time. Anyway, time to end the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be coming out with more settlement build videos, of course, and as always, more lore. So if you want to make sure you don't miss my next episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. I've got a brand new shirt in the shop, folks. The game was rigged from the start. I have a lovely image of a certain fellow in a daisy suit holding a platinum chip and with a very distinctive weapon called Maria. If you would like to get this shirt, it comes in a wide array of colors and in a variety of both men's and women's sizes. You can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with a brand new video.